Listen to me, if you're going to win this year, if you're going to win in your impact, in your marketplace, if you're going to take your organization, your business, your leadership, your team to the next level, it is important to understand the power of alignment and also the illusion of alignment. Because in the work that I've done helping leaders and organizations all across this globe, I would tell you it is my firm belief that organizations and teams commit more to agreement and unintentionally diminish alignment. And here's what I want you to understand. Not only you need alignment, but for you to go to the next level this year, for you to really take things up 10 notches, you can't do it alone. Darius Daniels has a quote, and I love it. It says it this way, that you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. Woo. Let me say it again. That you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. So what it simply means is not just your expectations, it's also your environment that determines the altitude of your success. And in order for you to really be able to make the level of impact, to go to the next level, it is so critical that you understand the power of alignment and also the difference between alignment and agreement. Because it's very easy for us to focus on agreement and to some degree diminish alignment. And as a result of that, we achieve these bottlenecks. So I want to really quickly just give you a bit of insight, something to think about that could truly change your approach. I've always said it this way, that frustration is the result of an ineffective approach. That ultimately, when we find ourselves in moments of frustration in the way that we're leading, it is simply mean that not necessarily that you need to do something different, but maybe you need to do it in a different way. That ultimately to change your approach means to remain committed towards the why, or your why is committed. Like, why I'm doing this, I'm committed to it. Come heck or high water, but I'm changing the how. I want to first go into this conversation to help you to understand the difference between agreement and alignment. Come on. Agreement, family, is about the what. Alignment is about the why. Or let me say it a different way. We achieve agreement when we have mutual commitment to do something that we see as beneficial to us. That when everybody has a commitment, mutual commitment to do this thing, to achieve the what, that is agreement. But alignment is when we have not just the mutual commitment to achieve the what, but we're operating from the same why, from the same conviction, from the same magnitude. If I was to say it a different way, I would say that you can have agreement, but not alignment. But it's impossible to have alignment and it not produce agreement. Come on, let me say it again. That you can have agreement, but not alignment. But it's impossible to have alignment and that alignment not produce agreements. Again, agreement is about the what, and that is what we focus a lot of our attention on, the goals, the outcomes, the things that we want to accomplish, and we corral towards that what. But we spend very little time making sure that we're aligned in the why. Not just why we're going after this, but why we have to do it in a specific way. Why we're going to maximize our output, why we're going to obsess about this thing and work tirelessly, because on the other side of our commitment is a greater level of impact. That I've said this all year, that another level requires another lever, and that lever isn't on you, it is in you. And so in order for us to truly be able to identify and to extrapolate the capacity that we possess in order to go to that next level, it is to really make the shift from focusing our efforts on just achieving agreement to ultimately achieving alignment. I want to give you this main point here and then something practical that I want you to lean into, that agreement is verbal, but alignment is behavioral. My goodness, I gotta say it again. That agreement is verbal, alignment is behavioral. It's so critical for us to understand that what a person says, to some degree, is going to speak to what they agree with. But what they do shows you if they are aligned with why they're doing it. And it's impossible for us as humans consistently to do something that we agree with externally in our behaviors, but we don't agree with internally in our beliefs. And here's what I want you to understand, that the way that you know you have agreement but not alignment is that you're hearing the right things, but you're seeing different behaviors. Come on. Those behaviors that are creating bottlenecks and frustrations and the behaviors that are counter the goals, the objectives, and the things that need to be achieved. So when there is a behavioral misalignment, then that shows there is an alignment issue. And so it's so important for us to understand that the loudest thing a person will ever say is found in their walk, not in their words. Ooh. That the feet speak so much louder than the lips. And so ultimately, if we're going to lead, it is so critical, especially now for most people, they're leading lean. Come on. They're leading and maybe they don't have large teams. They don't have huge resources, don't have huge budgets. So what we ultimately want to get to is not just harnessing and leaning into that deeper agreement, the what, but we want to get to that deeper why. Here's something I want to encourage you to do. I want you to take some time to pull your team together. And here's a question I really want you to ask. Okay? The question I really want you to ask as you pull your team together is, do you know what we are going after? And more importantly, can you articulate the why? And if you find yourself getting different answers, then it could signify that there is misalignment collectively. You don't just want one or two people to have that clear understanding of the why, but there must be collective alignment across all of the individuals involved as to why we're going after this, the magnitude, what this is ultimately going to mean, and how this is going to drive the way that we show up. I want to give you 3 leadership principles as we wrap up here today to remember, because I want you to understand that you have it. You have what you need to lead. 3 principles, really quick. Write this down. The first one simply says, leaders lead. Leaders lead. And so in the midst of the frustration and the overwhelm and the fatigue and the uncertainty that we're dealing with, leaders lead. Leaders don't necessarily have all the answers, but they lead with the certainty that they have. So my question for you is, what is in your hand? What do you currently have in the moment that you can run with? How can you trust on the experience and skills and strengths of the people around you, and even the strength that is operating within you? And how do you also come to the realization that you have strengths that you haven't actually seen yet? Because listen to me, most of us don't understand the potential we possess until we're put in situations where the pressure has to squeeze the potential out of us in order for us to come into revelation of what we ultimately have. That sometimes it's the things that you don't want that ultimately helps you to identify the thing that you have so that you can achieve what you do want. The second principle I want you to understand is that leadership is impact. Leadership is impact. Leadership is one of the only things that you will do today that will impact people you'll never meet, that will impact the lives of others who will ultimately impact others. And life is about impact. There's nothing you'll ever do in this life greater than the impact that you make, and will either make a positive impact or will make an impact that is negative. And here's the third principle. I need you to write this down. To lead people effectively, you must love people authentically. Let me say this again. To lead people effectively, you must love people authentically. Because you'll only lead at the level of your love. It has to go past the head. And yes, the head is important in leadership, but leadership is a heart set. It's a heart posture. And so as we go into this next season, I want to encourage you to not just lead for agreement, but to fight for alignment. And when we achieve alignment, we can achieve things that we never thought possible. Because again, you can have agreement, but not alignment. But it's impossible to have alignment and then not produce agreement. And if your mind can conceive this and your heart will believe it, then your hands can create the life, the impact, the love you desire. Hey, share this with somebody who needs it. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you of how you're going to cultivate alignment this week, this month, this year. And until next time, do me a favor. Don't resort to your backup. For you, the only backup is to get back up.
Hey, what's up, difference maker? Jovan Glasgow here, and from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. You know, this is where you come to gain the clarity, confidence, and influence that you need to level up in your impact. And my heart's desire, my mission is to see you achieve the pinnacle of your purpose, to live a life that is fulfilling in every single area. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on your bell notifications so that you are notified whenever I drop new content. I can't wait to see you again on the next video. And until then, stay empowered.